Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Shadow Wraith, and today we are going to be doing a competitive chat regarding the tiers of the evil factions in the Armies of the Lord of the Rings book. Today I've got Arash with me.
What's up?
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. We're talking
Mate,
evil.
love it. Nothing but let's go.
Yeah, and well, we've got our own tier system, but I think that will come prevalent. I think we'll explain it when we actually give the tiers out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think when we get to the tier section, then it'll be pretty funny.
Yeah. So
we spent a lot of time coming up with this. Is it categorization criteria?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
keep teams.
I think it's going to catch on. I think people are going to drop the high tier, meta tier, whatever.
It's a bit lame, isn't it? Let's be real. Let's say it how it is.
Yeah.
As you'll find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Momentarily.
To be fair, I don't know how many let's say top tier ones we're going to get in evil.
I mean, considering how much GW loves evil with all their legendary legions and stuff. Hashtag another video soon.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, we both got pretty similar opinions on a lot of things. I'm guessing we've got a few different opinions on various different factions, and then we can debate, and eventually I'll be right. So we'll see how it goes.
I see.
But yeah, evil needs more love from GW. I'll leave it at that. But there are some really competitive armies, and we won't talk. I don't think we're talking too much about alliance matrices today, are we? We're just going pure.
Yeah, we'll just go pure. Yeah. I think if we start adding allies in, sure, it can increase the competitiveness of certain factions because they can ally with more factions. So, I think, Serpent Horde are quite good with the allies they've got.
Yeah, very strong.
Yeah. Mordor can do a few things as well. We know what it is. And then when we get into yellow allies, it gets even crazier. And then Legendary Legion, we'll just stick with pure for now. Legendary Legion's another video. And if allies, people want that super badly, we'll have a chat about allies. Anyway, so let's just dive straight in because we've got quite a few factions to cover. We have got Barad-dûr. Now, this is the big boy himself, okay? If you're super duper evil, this is the guy you want, okay?
Daddy Sauron.
Yeah, it's Daddy Sauron. And I'll just cover the army bonus quick. We're not going to go through. I'm not going to go through all the profiles, but just basically the army bonus and kind of quickly who you get. So the army bonus is pretty solid. Sauron's warband size is increased to 24. And if the whole army consists solely of models from the Barad-dûr army list, it will never be considered broken if Sauron has 3 or more wounds remaining. If he goes under, they can break normally. If he dies, the army breaks straight away. Because you've just seen the big boy go down. So, yeah. And of course, you get Sauron in here. Big 400-point hero. You get quite a lot of stuff from Mordor as well. So you got your orcs, orc captains, taskmasters, troll chieftains, black Numenorians, Morgul knights. You got solid stuff. But are they as good as Mordor? Because, I mean, you've got a 400-point model that you kind of have to take if you're bringing Barad-dûr. Otherwise, why aren't you playing Mordor? Don't you think?
Hells yes, they're as good as Mordor. They're very good. I love this army. You've got Sauron. It's just a flex. You're flexing as soon as you take Sauron on the board. You look at your opponent, you can see the fear in their eyes, and you're loving life. You've got, I think, it's an 18-inch 4-up chill soul, and then the still fears on something ridiculous, and he's just got an incredible amount of spells. He's no slouch in combat either. He's 4 attacks. I think he's fight 9, strength 8. He's a beast, absolute beast, and he's defense 10. So in the current UK meta, as you and I are really aware, it's just horde good armies with strength 2 shooting. I mean, they just ping off him. He's got they can't do no damage to him. Even his Gucci armor, he's untouchable. I'm not joking. If you've got a rules book open right now, whoever's listening, look at the 2 wound chart. Look at strength 2 and defense 10. It doesn't even compute. Computer says no, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's
you just walk up and smash him in the face.
To be fair, I've seen some pretty wacky lists with Sauron where you've got a Mordor drummer because he affects all. Seen that. I think he affects him. Oh, something like that.
Yeah, he does.
Or maybe I'm thinking of another edition. But
no. It affects all the models in the Barad-dûr army. all of them with the Mordor keyword, I think, which he has, or Barad-dûr keyword. And yeah, you've literally got Sauron running around. I think it's what, 9-inch move, plus
Yeah.
his spells, which are usually 18 inches. He's got entire board coverage, and he's just a menace.
Damn.
I mean, if we're looking generally at tournaments in the UK, I mean, what kind of points level are we looking at, do you reckon? Like 600 to like 500 to 800 is usually the average, right? Like,
Yeah, I say. I mean, recently, obviously, I've been on the scout for tournaments. It's quite low points at the moment. I think
yeah,
average, I'd say 600. I see the most amount of tournaments I see is about 600 points.
yeah.
So,
So,
2/3 of it is
sorry.
gone with Sauron.
Yeah, I mean, this army is great if you're playing 1,000-point games, 800-point games, 800 plus is why I would bring this army, and it'd be good. You're really looking at it to excel at 1,000 points, because then you can bring another supplementary caster. The whole burden's not on Sauron. You can bring more troops, but generally how you run this is you take Sauron, an Orc Wall, or if you have the points, Black Numenorians, have them die slowly while Sauron hero hunts. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of shenanigans around that. You can compel, you can chill soul, you can transfix, and yeah, I think it's a really good army.
I think what saves it for me, because I'm not usually a fan of my big model is going to kill everything.
Yeah.
But what saves it for me, for like my kind of playstyle, is he has got the kind of like horde clearer with a 3+ in Still Fear. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I felt like, spoiled by my Witch King having a 4+ in Still Fear.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah.
only issue I have with this army is it's low might generally at 800 points. You're not taking that much might. Therefore, I think getting a Taskmaster, and if you can, really does benefit this list, because those 4 upright moves can come clutch. And also armies which have bodyguard, because granted, they're probably going to hide their hero out of casting range or out of view of Sauron. And then having Sauron lose a priority roll in a heroic move off and getting pinned by one Fountain Court guard every turn can be extremely frustrating.
Yeah. So that's why I don't like this big bad move. Like, at least other big bad evil models have things to like. I mean, the Balrog I'm thinking of, he's got his free heroic combat, so he can get out of those situations. He doesn't have to waste his like luck on like a barge to get rid of that one elf to try and get into something juicier. And I like barge. It's just I wish it wasn't D6, because the amount of times I've rolled a 1, it's just sweet.
What in?
Yeah, I should have just killed the elf.
I mean, how would you rate this army then out of our rating tier?
See, our rating tier, because it's got big bad Sauron himself, and you kind of have to bring him, I'd probably chuck him in their Chad tier. You've got to be a bit of a Chad to bring this guy. So yeah, you explain it. You came up with this tier system. I'll let you explain it.
So it's a 4-tier system, and at the very top we've got the neckbeard tier. Now these are people who sweat the game, who'll bring like Alfred the Counselor and Gandalf, where Gandalf will strengthen his will and Alfred will give him might and just have that infinite might pool, while you just have a ton of Lake Town militia firing with blinding light behind them. That is really neckbeardy, but it's also going to win you a lot of games.
Yeah.
And the Chad tier is when you don't give a monkeys. You will bring an army, you will put it on the table. You'll know it's not the most competitive, but it's so fun to play, and it gets stuff done. And this is one of those armies. This is one of those armies where you'll bring it just because you've got the absolute Dark Lord of the Chads, just going up front and smashing people with strength 8 hits, killing heroes, casting magic where he can, and it's just so hilarious because as soon as he dies, the whole army just runs. And it's very, very thematic. And for me, it's the peak of chaddiness. But yeah, the other two, so we've got average, below average, and it's not, explains itself. And then last but not least, we've got rubbish / hobbit tier. So this is basically a list that if you're bringing it, why?
Yeah.
Like, you'll have to have a really good reason. I mean, if it's your uncle's models and you've borrowed them, great. Like, it's your first game. You like the way they look, fine. But you're lucky if you get a couple of VPs in a game.
Yeah. And just in case anyone loves their neckbeard or something, we are not insulting neckbeards. It's just a term, okay? It's just a term for someone who's very competitive. So the guy who
Next
brings
game.
Rivendell Knights to like a 400-point game.
Yeah, exactly. Like that is super neckbeardy.
Yeah.
Like playing Rivendell Knights with Gil-galad at 𝐾𝐲𝐻𝐸, and then being really upset when some absolute Chad brings 8 demolition teams from Isengard and takes you out.
You told me about that. That's
Yeah, it was a ridiculous number of demolition teams. I don't think it was 8. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was so many, and I loved it. And it was before the FAQ as well on demolition bomb teams.
Oh, that's
I was just
insane.
sitting there watching them getting surrounded and blowing up. Amazing.
All right. Okay, we're gonna move on now. So we have got one of my personal favorites is Angmar, my boys.
Is there? Let's go.
So I mean, favorite character ever, Witch King of Angmar. This is his army. Okay, so I'll quickly go over the army bonus and a couple of the key models, but the army bonus is absolutely phenomenal. It's any friendly orc model that is within 3 inches of a friendly spirit hero model gains the terror special rule. You got scary orcs. That's insane. I love it. Okay, it's not amazing against like good v evil list because good for some reason has all the courage, but it's still a really good rule because the amount of times I've had those like random models fail to charge, like my lowly orc, it's been incredible. And of course we've got the Witch King, who's a hero of legend in this one rather than being a hero of valor for Barad-dûr. You can't bring any other race apart from him, Tainted, and the Dwimmerlake, Tainted, fantastic. And on top of that, we've got a million trolls. We've got Gullivar, who's absolutely phenomenal, absolute beast. He is literally a glass hammer. Okay, if he hits something, he's going to absolutely annihilate it, regen. But if he gets hit by anything solid or you misplace him, he will go down fast. As well as that, you've got the usual stuff. So you've got like your captains. You've got a terrible shaman that doesn't have fury. I think he's got like transfix on a 5+ or something. I don't know. I don't bring him. Why would I? Wild Wogs, always good. Cave trolls, and then we got the big boy cave troll daddy himself, a Mordor, who's a beatstick. He's a cave troll with might. So yeah, what could go wrong?
Prospect.
So I'll quickly go over what like I think of this faction. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah,
it's so cool. It's spooky, and it's evil, and it's magic-y. And Barrow-wights. I forgot Barrow-wights. And shades. You get shades. Oh, man. Shades are the most disgusting. I mean, I'd put broken label probably on a shade. There's ways to deal with it, but you can't deal with a shade if you haven't got the tools to deal with a shade. It just ruins your day. Plus a 4+ paralyze is dumb. I will admit it. It is ridiculous. I've got 5 will on my 50-point hero that casts paralyze on a 4+. That's insane.
That I'm surprised that's still there. I mean, what more to say about this army? Is absolute neckbeard tears. Disgust. It's filth. I would say it's probably the best army in the game. If you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people watch YouTube videos and be like, yeah, it's the best army in the game, I'm gonna collect it. And then they do, and they don't know what they're doing. And then you just see these orcs running around getting absolutely massacred by shooting, Gullivar going off and charging something, getting surrounded because he loses a heroic move. Someone strikes and kills him. So you got to know your stuff when you play this army. But like you, for example, I don't think I've ever seen you lose with Angmar, not once.
Not yet.
Not yet. And it's one of those armies where if you've got the skill, sky's the limit. That's why you shouldn't be surprised why you always see it near the top tables, of more than likely on the top tables when it's in the hands of the top players.
Yeah. The only downside to Angmar, in my opinion, for me playing it, is it can be a negative play experience for your opponent. Like, I played against you with it. How did you feel with your elves when I had a Shade, a Barrow-wight, and the Witch King, and the Tainted? I can't remember. I think we were playing 800 points, and I bought my twin Wraith list.
Yeah, well, you know me, I like a challenge, right?
Absolutely.
And I saw it. I didn't, I was worried because it was so many orcs with picks and a Shade, and I knew as soon as that gets into combat, I am double stuff Oreo. Like I'm done. But this is where, and I'm gonna talk more generally about the game rather than Angmar itself. This is where you'll really learn how to play this game, and it'll really push your boundaries. And if you lose with grace. Don't be salty about it. think, oh, okay, this is how Angmar plays. I've got X amount of orcs with a shade. How can I get around it next time? The sad thing is, there's not much you can do. Like, I tried to shoot you. I tried hiding my heroes with their elven cloaks. I tried to take you out piecemeal. Admittedly, I got quite far, but eventually it catches up with you. That shade, with orcs with picks, it's brutal. It's brutality. It's disgusting. And then you're backed up with a Barrow Wight who can paralyze your hero, and there's two-handed 5-6 point orc chads just run in and cut him to pieces. Like, what can you do?
Yeah, I love them so much. They're so good, but I don't bust them out too often because I'm just worried my opponent won't have fun because you have to play Angmar like with spells. Like, I mean, sure, you can bring like 2 cave trolls, birder, and a bunch of orcs, but you're not gonna do very well, I don't think. I mean, in the comment section, let me know if I'm wrong. If you run a fully like melee orientated Angmar list, props on you. But I like my Dead Marsh Spectres that can mess around with like movement of my opponent. I like the Barrow Wights who can go, that massive good hero you've got because, Games Workshop love good. Yeah, well, I'm going to paralyze him into the ground and then I'm going to kill him with 3 two-handed orcs.
absolute filth.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can feel the neckbeard coming on. I can feel one growing just talking about Angmar.
Mate, they have, and last point, they have the best model in the game. They've got Gulliver, and like 10 seconds hit with Gulliver, running with an orc captain, and heroic combat off that orc captain. He's 10 attacks when he wins a fight. At fight 7, strength 8 on the charge. Like no one survives. Nobody.
No one survives being charged by Gulliver and losing the duel. I have yet to not. He can
comfortably kill 6 or 7 models a turn.
I've seen him. I've seen him kill things like the Thralls, the Durins in one round of combat.
Yeah, and he's insane. Like if you pair him up with the Orc Captain on Warg and you both charge a model and you call a heroic combat, that forces your opponent to call a strike with any exposed heroes they have. Yeah. And that way they drain might, and Angmar generally is a low might army. And you don't even have to charge them. You can just go and kill more troops and put the pressure on them that they're breaking soon because you've got this vampire going around absolutely bombaying everyone. It's disgusting.
He's absolutely crazy. I love him.
Yeah.
I haven't brought him to a tournament yet, but I'm hoping to. I need the real model. If anyone's got the real model out there, let me know. And
£50 is yours. You can have him. I've got 2.
You've got 2. We'll talk after this.
I'm joking. Massive discount, mate. You can have it for a massive discount. Don't worry.
Oh, we're definitely having a chat after this. I think I'm in love.
But should we just agree on neckbeard tier?
Absolutely.
Uber neckbeard tier.
Absolutely. And like, just so you know, don't get offended by neckbeard tier. I'm calling myself a neckbeard because I play Angmar. I love Angmar. Okay. Yeah. I play the Black Riders. It doesn't get much more neckbeard.
What's the next one? Mordor, right?
The next one is indeed Mordor. Now,
let's
Mordor.
Go.
This is the pretty much as OG as it gets as playing an evil faction. This is your evil faction. Everyone thinks Mordor. When I say evil in Lord of the Rings, what are they called? Oh, they're the dudes from Mordor, aren't they? Boom. Yes, they are. So, army bonus is probably, arguably one of the best for evil, I think. Just because.
I think so.
I mean, sure, Serpent Horde does something similar, but you all get +1 courage as long as you outnumber your opponent. As well as that, you get reroll 1s to wound. So you've got poison on your whole army. Yeah, Mordor warriors. All Mordor warriors get to reroll 1s to wound, and they all get +1 courage. So your orcs aren't that unbrave. The only downside to that is you have to, unless you outnumber them when you're broken, which you might do, that's when you kind of want your courage, unless you're playing a full, terror army. But hey.
Yeah.
What do we get in this? Well, of course, we still get the Witch King. He's a hero of legend in this as well, I believe. We've got all the wraiths, all the named wraiths. They all can be taken part as a Mordor list. Standard wraiths, the unnamed ones. You've got Gothmog, Big G, as I call him. Master of Battle Boy. I love him. He hates everyone. Yeah, what other key models can I think of? The thing similar to Barad-dûr, you've got the Black Numenorians. They're always fantastic. Such good value. 9 points per model for a Black Numenorian is insane. I love them. Yeah, it is. Morgul Knights are also fantastic. Great Beast of Gorgoroth if you want to be a Chad. I love it. Do it. And, of course, the boy who's won me so many games, Shagrat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, charging in with this shield of 𝐘𝐲𝐿 𝐸, knocking people prone, and there's like one banging strider. It's just so good. OTK.
I mean, everyone knows Mordor, right? Everyone should know Mordor at this point, and fair. I think they've got the largest range of models out of all the evil factions, and rightfully so. I mean, you have access to all 9 wraiths, all 9. I would say Mordor has the best magical output in the game, bar none.
Yeah,
bar none.
It's insane.
And
Oh, 𝐶𝐸.
they've got
Not 𝐶𝐸.
Yeah.
𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐜. Oh,
Take
we'll
him.
talk about him in a sec.
I mean, with Mordor, there's so many different ways to run them. You can run them as a heavy-hitting shock army where you have a ton of Morannon Orcs with Fury, a couple of Troll Chieftain, never sleep on the Troll Chieftain, and maybe a support Wraith, and they just go around and beat everything up with their... Most of the time they're going to outnumber the enemy, and get that reroll 1s and +1 courage. Courage 3 Orcs and nothing to sniff at. And then you've got the magical output army where you can have a couple of Wraiths, Barad-dûr, which we definitely have to discuss, and Black Numenorians for the Terror Wall, supported by Morannon Orcs with that Strength 4, couple of Wild Riders for objective securing. There's so much you can do. You even have access to monsters like Nazgul on Fell Beasts, Great Beasts of Gorgoroth, Trolls. It's disgusting. I love this army, and my favorite piece from this army, even though I hate bringing it because people hate it, is the catapult with severed heads. 'Cause you can make Aragorn run away. It's brilliant.
Ah, that's so good. If we were talking about allies, I think the Golden King would come up here.
Yeah. You know my meme list. It's not even a meme list. It will get rid of anyone. Golden King, Ring Wraith, and Catapult. But that's a video for another time.
Right. What I'm gonna say is, you can have 8 points as your main warriors. They're 8 points. Bear in mind, okay, and they can be their Strength 4 standard, Defense 6, with Courage 3, rerolling 1s to wound, and they've got access to Piercing Strike because they come with a sword, mace, or an axe. So they can be Strength 5, rerolling 1s to wound as your main front line, Defense 6. That's crazy. I love it. It's so good. And that's your Morannon Orcs.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It's unreal. And you can have them go to Strength 5 with an axe. And when you've got so many of them, you don't mind piercing striking. Yeah, fight 3 isn't great, but when you've got so many orcs, it doesn't matter. Someone's going to win a fight. Someone's going to get through, and someone's going to crack your head in. And that's what they do. I think they're the best shock infantry in the game. They're so solid for what they do.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And I know for a fact, like, I've already ordered like Morannon Orcs, more of them, because I've got 𝐸𝐸𝐿 now. He's going to be bringing Morannon Orcs. Hatred Elves? Yes, please.
Maybe this is the time to mention Gothmog plus 𝐸𝐸𝐿.
Yeah, right. So, obviously, everyone knows 𝐸𝐸𝐿 gives everyone in his warband Hatred Elves, right? That's fantastic. But, if you know Gothmog, someone came up with this in the comments, I think. Well, all friendly Mordor Orcs models within 3 inches of Gothmog gets Hatred Man special rule. So you hate men and elves. Which is like the majority of the competitive factions brought by good players in a good v evil tournament. Like, what other races is there? Hobbits and dwarves?
There's nothing they do. Whoever came up with this, I love you.
Yeah.
I genuinely love you. I want to meet you. I will buy you anything.
We owe you a
pay
beer.
a drink.
100%. Like, whether you're UK or not, like, fly over here and I'll buy you a pint. Because this is insane. I love it. Yeah, Gothmog, Lieutenant Sauron. 130 points. So good. He's solid alright as well. Gothmog is solid. He's got Master of Battle, you know. I like all Orc heroes. For some reason, nothing can break the Fight 5 barrier for our heroes, really.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Not until we get to Easterlings.
No. Which kind of makes sense, but at the same time, Fight 6 isn't like crazy good when it's good v evil. But yeah, let's bring up 𝐸𝐸𝐿 then.
Ooh, I mean, what can we say about this guy? He's 60 points, so he's 10 more points than regular Shaman. He can lead 6 more infantry in his warband or cav, or even monsters, however you want to configure it. But the best thing about this guy is if you bring the right warband, aka cheap bodies, cheap orcs, he has basically infinite will, and fireball on a 3-up. Fireball,
Yeah.
you know, fireballs, like shooting fire from your hand.
The thing that
Saruman does
Saruman,
it on a 5.
yeah, needs a 5+ to cast it.
This guy's doing it on 3s.
Oh, it's so good. And the thing is, like, I don't see myself ever taking a normal Orc Shaman over
No.
𝐘𝐲𝐬𝐿. Like, why would I? Because you can gain will back. Because an Orc Shaman, what, you've got 3 will and that's it, you're done. 1 might. 𝐘𝐲𝐬𝐿,
It's
you eat
It's two
orcs.
orcs cost to get to get a super shaman. That's all it is. Two basic orcs in
Yeah.
points to get a super shaman.
Yeah. And you've got Fireball and Fury. Like, Fury's fantastic. Always bring Fury because there's a lot of terror-causing things out there. But yeah, just the Fireball's a bonus because it's similar to like the Paralyze. It's not as potent as Paralyze, but you don't want
No.
enemy heroes won't want to go near this guy because it's what, strength 6.
Strength 6, and with 1 might point you can set a blaze. Generally you don't because you can just keep throwing fireballs.
Yeah, and then you just eat an orc when you start running low on will.
I mean, if you throw 1 fireball, you're hitting 66% of the time using 1 will point. Generally people will use 2 just to make sure it goes off. So you're basically guaranteeing that you're fireballing every turn if
Yeah.
you're in range.
Yeah.
And then even me personally, I play Mordor as a very magic focused faction, and you take him, he becomes Wraith fuel if you need it.
Yeah. Monster energy.
So you get
for
D6
wraiths.
rollback on your leaders. It's broken.
Yeah, see, I've seen him used quite a lot with the Undying.
Yeah.
Because he can keep casting spells. Oh, I've got to check that. He keeps casting spells, and I think that Undying just gets will back per spell cast near him or something like
He
that.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have basically infinite fireballs. Because let's face it, there's going to be so many orcs on the board, there's only so many turns in the game. 𝐘𝐲𝐬𝐿 is going to keep throwing them out. And then every time he throws out a fireball and the Undying is 6 inches near him, I think he gets a will point back.
Yeah, he does.
So he never dies.
And then if you get, like, against the ropes, the Undying's, like, down to, like, nearly no will, you just, pop that cap open on 𝐘𝐲𝐬𝐿, which is his head, chug down some Wraith fuel, D6 will back. Thank you very much.
They didn't train him for free. Everything in Mordor has a price.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that.
Any other models of note in your opinion?
For me, everything. I love Mordor. Mordor for me is the best army in the game. One of the best armies in the game. It has everything you need. It's a Swiss Army knife. Sometimes Mordor can be a master of many things, but then lacking in other items. So was it master of none? So prevalent, good at many things, but a master of none, which is what I think I'm trying to say. But when it comes to magic, it is absolutely supreme. I mean, I would rate this neckbeard, the neckbeard of neckbeard tiers. I don't know what you would think.
I agree. I think it's neckbeard tier because I see it at the top, winning events quite a lot, and if it's built right, it's such a powerful list.
Exactly.
It's so strong, and again, I play Mordor. So what can I say? You play Mordor. Everyone's a neckbeard today.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But what's the next one? Is it Moria?
So yeah, Moria is next, okay? And I've just looked at the clock and I've recorded way too long already, so we're gonna have to quick fire these ones out. I mean, we can talk about Middle Earth all day, especially evil.
Oh yeah, I live for evil. Live for it. I can't be bothered with good armies. Boring as hell. Sorry. If you're a good player, I don't care. They're boring.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to be evil? We get things like the Balrog of Morgoth. Come on. So talking about Moria, the army bonus is sure. You get +1 fight value if your opponent is trapped. So you've got fight 3 goblins. Woo! It becomes prevalent with you can do some combos with what's it called? Groblog's Crown plus a Prowler.
We can come onto that shortly.
Yeah. So of course you get Big Dad, B Daddy, the Balrog himself. And I think there's 2 main ways of playing this list. I'll go 3. You can monster mash it, where you bring like all the drakes and like watchers and dragons or whatever. You go the Balrog list, where your main focus is the Balrog, supported by a bunch of goblins. Or you can go for the kind of like generic, like my preferred way of playing Moria, which is kind of like a bit of a dip your toe in everything. So you bring a Drake, but with a bat swarm, a cave troll with a bat swarm, bunch of goblins, shaman, the named heroes. Yeah, but you have got the biggest, baddest like dude in town, the Balrog. Coming in at fight 10, highest fight value in the game, strength 9, defense 9, 4 attacks, 10 wounds, courage 7, no might, 10 will, no fate, resistance to magic. It's got a fiery lash as a throwing weapon that whips people into base contact with him. Ancient evil, +1 fight back. Oh no, wounds. 10 wounds. And he's got he makes your goblins fearless as well, because why not? They definitely didn't run away from the Balrog in the film. And he can set people ablaze, maybe. Yeah, and he can't be instantly killed, which is kind of cool.
No, he can't be insta killed, which is good, especially when you're fighting siege weapons.
Yeah, I think that's why he's in there. Like, I mean, not gonna lie, when I play Good v Evil and I've got the King of the Dead and I 2-tap this guy on 5s, they get pretty annoyed. But as long as you're not fighting him, you're all good.
Yeah. I mean, Moria, they can be good. So the way I like to run Moria is as a horde. So just spam goblins and maybe have a couple of monsters. Could be a Drake, could be a cave troll, but mainly it's the focus on goblins. I think goblins are relatively quite underrated, especially if you take a lot of prowlers. Is with Groblog you can go up by 1 fight. They're already fight 3, so you go up to fight 4, and then they trap you. So yeah, it can be. They get backstabbers. They get +1 to wound, which is good. Wait, are prowlers fight 3?
Yeah, I think they're fight 3. Yeah, they're fight 3, so they go up to fight 4 if you trap them. Fight 5 with the crown.
So you can get fight 5 goblins with backstabbers.
Yeah, and they've got 200 axe, so you could make them strength 4 as well, +2 to wound.
Strength 4, fight 5.
Yeah, so basically if you get like maybe a goblin captain in there with a couple of prowlers, trap something, you're probably outfighting it unless it's an elf. Piercing strike 2-hand. Yeah, you're probably going to get the 6 with a captain with might and a banner, because the goblin drum, 18-inch wide banner, +1 courage, -1 courage for the enemy thing.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
I like Moria, and usually the people who play Moria are absolute chads.
They are.
They'll bring a cave Drake, they'll bring a couple of monsters, and it's all for bants. It's all for fun. They always have all these little shenanigans with the Black Shield Shaman, shattering your weapons or tremoring, and it's just funny. And you don't really see Moria too often at the top tables, or rarely you do. But that being said, I do think they can be competitive. Depends how you play them.
Oh yeah, they're definitely got competitiveness. It's just I love them, and people can play, and people can win tournaments with them. Absolutely, they're strong enough, 100%. But the people that play them, that I've met personally, tend to be quite fun-loving guys. So I put them in the Chad tier just because they're there to have a laugh. They've got a dweller in the dark that they just want to run around and kill stuff with.
Baby Balrog, let's go.
Yeah, baby Balrog with Daddy Balrog. It's like, thank you. And I think they've got the best cavalry in the game, being the Warhammer Order.
Yeah, one of the best. I've got a personal favourite who are going to come up in this chat, who I think are the best cav in the game. But yeah, Warhammer Order is one of the best. I mean, I love this army. You've got loads of monsters. You've got loads of fun shenanigans with magic, like shattering Aragorn's Andoril is hilarious.
Black Shield Shaman.
Yeah. If you bring 2, you can shatter his Andoril, and then you can shatter his dagger, and he's just running around with his fist. And -1 fight. And if you trap him with prowlers, then you'll fight 5. And Aragorn can't hurt you either. He's -1 to wound and -1 in a duel. But yeah, I think they're great. I think I personally would run them as goblin spam with a couple of monsters. But yeah, if you love the Balrog, he is really iconic in the books and movies. Bring it. And but yeah, I think to play this army, you got to be an absolute chad, and that's why I love my matchups against Moria.
Yeah.
Because whenever you play someone who uses Moria, they're chads. They will do whatever it takes, and it's hilarious.
I've never had a feel bad game against a Moria player ever.
Never. Me neither.
Yeah. Even if I've got my butt kicked, I'm still loving it. It's hilarious. I've got Strider facing down the Dweller and a bat swarm, and the King of the Dead's trying to hold off the bat swarm. It's absolutely nuts. He didn't sign up for that.
Moria is life. Moria is love.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Chad tier.
Yeah, I put it in Chad
I
too.
think they're above average. They can win events, but they're not. They're not like top tier.
Yeah, you got to be pretty good to win with Moria.
Yeah. Swinging on swiftly to Isengard. Now, Isengard are a really cool faction. Yeah, really, really cool. So their army bonus is one that caused a lot of confusion when it was first came out. So they don't take courage for being broken until at least 66% of the models have been removed as a casualty. Additionally, Lurtz, Uglug, Maha, Vascu, Urukai Scout captains, the captains they gain woodland creature. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. That's okay. The 66% thing is cool. I would think it should have been you don't break until 66%, full stop, VPs included. But no, it's just courage tests because I think that's more Isengardy. If you don't take courage, you don't give the VP. You are still a fighting force. You're still good to go because there's so many things that just like you don't break if so and so is still alive. Like give them 66%. Come on.
I mean, I like Isengard.
Yeah. Sorry, Karen.
No, I like this army. I think it's a really good army for beginners to come into this game as well because it's quite forgiving.
100%. And the thing is, it's one of the coolest, like from the film. Like everyone remembers Battle of Helm's at the Deep. 100%, don't they?
Yeah, iconic.
So cool. And then you've just got that like Urukai Berserker, like you're bombaying into like the bombs and exploding everything, and like that's just absolutely nuts to the walls, like crazy. I love it. Like who doesn't love a good Berserker jumping on top of the wall and like slicing down all those pesky elves? Yum. Oh.
I love the models. I love the models in this army. I love the berserkers. I love the fact that they're 2 attacks and they're absolutely absolutely mad boys running around with their double-handed sword whacking elves.
The mad lads.
Hashtag never take feral Urukai.
Oh yeah, no.
They're really forgiving. You've got a defense 6 usually, fight 4, courage 3 model in fighting Urukai with heavy armor and shield. And they really do form up quite well in pike formations. There's a lot of ways to run Isengard. You could run the scout list, which is pretty interesting, and we're not really talking about legendary legions today, but they do have some interesting legendary legions.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound slightly controversial here, but I think Isengard's legendary legions are actually better than Isengard itself. I would actually rank Isengard in Chad tier. Just because you don't really have any solid heroes besides Saruman, but Saruman's not winning you Contest of Champions.
He's really not.
No, and then the infantry are great, but they're quite expensive, especially when you compare them to elves. So you can't really bring that many of them.
See, I had a rumor about Contest of Champions, just so you know, which might change your opinion. You can apparently they're thinking of changing one of the hero. Like instead of being your leader, you just pick a hero to be the guy who gets all the things. That would be so much better, wouldn't it?
I think that's better. Like, take Saruman and then take Lurtz, and Lurtz will put up a better fight than him.
Yeah. Sorry, Karen. I interrupted you.
No, I mean, I was just annoying all the Isengard fanboys out there and girls and anyone else that I don't rate them particularly high. They've got crossbows, great. They've got fight 4, strength 4, great. But they don't really have the numbers, and they don't have the great heroes.
All right, I've only heard of one major list that made a splash, and that is the Legendary Legion, the Assault on Helm's Deep. And we have to talk about it with Isengard because, unfortunately, that's how people usually run them at competitive events that I have seen, either online or in person. It's always been a Legendary Legion, which is fine because you get free stuff for no extra points. It makes sense to bring the Legions, and it just makes your ballista so much better. Your bombs so much more reliable, and you still get to keep all the good parts of Isengard apart from named heroes for that. Or you can run the scouts list as you said, Arash, where you're like movement 8 across the table, which is insane. Or you go for Oglogs.
Movement 11.
Yeah, bang the drum, movement 11. Call a heroic march on top of that. It's yeah, you own the table. Yeah, I'd see. I don't want to. If you go Legendary Legions, I'll give you Chad tier.
Yeah.
If
No,
you
if you
don't,
go Legendary Legions, I'll give you Neckbeard tier.
yeah,
If you go
you're right.
basic Isengard, I'll go Chad tier.
Yeah, I think yeah. Chad tier. I'll give Netbeard tier to the Assault and Helm's Deep because who brings two ballistas? Moving on. Come on. If you're sat there with your two ballistas on the table, come on.
No one likes you. Go
Come
away.
on, come on, bro. It's like me with my Angmar. People see my two Wraiths and go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. The two ballistas are the Lady of Light equivalent for the armies of evil. Like the person who brings two ballistas just doesn't have, in my opinion, enough skill to really play anything else.
I think it's just, it's like unless you've got blinding light, there's not much you can do against siege. I just don't like siege weapons in general in this game that much.
Yeah, I don't find them fun. I mean, I told you I love the catapult, but only at like 1,000 points and above, and I'll only bring one.
Yeah, because how many points is the ballista? It's like 65 points or something dumb.
Something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 65 points. Strength not is that is it's and then when you put the rerolls to rerolls to hit and in the ways and stuff from the legendary leadership, they just become
Unbelievable.
yeah they're pretty way too reliable for siege because the whole point of siege is it's meant to be relatively unreliable, but they only scatter 3 inches and on top of that you get to reroll. It's just the amount of sixes
Reroll to scatter. It's just broken.
yeah it can be a bit, let's say, feel bad.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, what can I say? I play Angmar and Black Riders. So now, okay, the boys who have caused quite a lot of stir recently because of the defense of the North Book, the Easterlings. Woo! We'll fly over this one because I've got a video coming up very soon about them anyway. So if you want to know more in depth, I might have put it in the description down below by now. If not, it'll be up relatively soon. But Easterlings, they're pretty cool. Probably one of the coolest, arguably the coolest looking faction on the table. Their army bonus, no quarter was asked, and I think the army bonus is fantastic. They get +1 courage when they're broken. Awesome. Yeah. That's when you need the courage. On top of that, for the games that end, you roll to end. On a dice roll, so on a 1 or 2 the game ends, you can choose to re-roll that dice roll. Yeah. I think, though, you can only re-roll it if it ends before they wished it to. You can't re-roll it to try and end it.
No, you can re-roll it if it ends before you want the game to end.
Yeah. Eastern players may choose to have the dice re-rolled if the scenario ends before they wish to. Yeah. It's only if you're in a losing position, but you need that extra turn or 2, and that 1 or 2 comes up. You go, now re-roll that, mate. Let's go again. I ain't done with you.
That's
yet.
Absolutely clutch and hold ground and reconnoiter.
Oh, it's come up a bunch. It's insane. Like with my Black Riders, just saying, if we go full Neckbeard mode, I'm at the point where I'm winning if the scenario ends on that turn. If it doesn't, I might be screwed. And he can if I see Easterlings, it's just like, oh no, thank you. I love Easterlings because they can just look at the proper guys who pop their Wraiths type of people and go, nah, mate, I'm gonna re-roll that.
Try.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. But yeah, there's not much to say that I'm not going to say later. Pike formations, high defense, relatively good courage, fight value's okay. Lack killing power at the moment, I think. Strength 3 across the board, apart from
I don't rate this army at all. If I'm honest, I put it in average tier.
At the moment, yeah, and I know there's a lot of people out there that would disagree. Like, no, I do awesome with my Easterlings. I bet you do in movement scenarios where you bang the drum and have to stay put. But if you trying to outkill Mirkwood or Halls of Thranduil, where they've all higher fight in the +1 to wound, you're getting shredded. You're going against Angmar. Unless you bring Camille, there's nothing you can really do against them apart from your courage is slightly higher than average evil. Not that you're gonna if it's blue on blue. There's so many. Yeah, dwarves. You go against dwarves. I mean, what are you gonna do? This...
I just have to say one thing about this army, really. In the current state of it, obviously with War in the North, things are going to change. But you always say it, and I always say it. We always say GW loves the good armies of Lord of the Rings, and not so much the evil. And here it's just plainly clear. For a Fight 4 model, a Black Dragon, Fight 4 model with a pike, so with a spear and a shield, is 11 points. An elf warrior, a high elf warrior for Fight 5, Courage 5, same movement, same defense, is 11 points with the same war gear. How is that fair?
It's not though, really, is it? You get the phalanx rule, which is okay. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I've literally just bought 2 made to order Easterling phalanxes. So don't think, oh, Shadow Wraith hates Easterlings. Opposite. I think they're awesome. I love them, and I'm going for the Chad award of I love my army because it looks cool. But War in the North, who knows? That Dragon Emperor, like Shadow, looks amazing. Dragon cult acolytes can kind of, I'm sure they're awesome. They got thrown weapons. Thrown weapons are amazing, sure, but they're as soon as they weren't strength 4, I was just like, yeah, no, thank you.
My issue with this army is the cost of the units, hands down. Like, even Dragon Cult acolytes are a bit too expensive for what they do, and they're so muscly. They're not even strength 4.
The thing is, I don't know. It might be a bit much, but I reckon 1 point more, I just give them the Fight 4.
You mean strength 4?
No. Like without the Black Dragon upgrade on normal Easterling warriors, there should be 8 points, and everything should be Fight 4. Like Arnold's Fight 4. You've got Canned. They're all Fight 4. Like, come on, these guys are meant to be like solid fighters.
Yeah, they're more martial than Gondor. Like, if you're considering Gondor in the Third Age, Warrior Minas Tirith is just like a random dude from a field who they put heavy armor on and gave a sword and like, yeah, do your thing, mate. These guys come from a warrior culture. They have these dragon cults, and they're used to fighting, and they're all Fight 3. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. It doesn't. I mean, they're the same fight as a Lake Town dude next to Bard. Like,
Yeah.
It's on the plus side, Easterling cataphracts are fantastic when they're Black Dragons because they're solid as anything. You've got shield wall on a horse that affects your horse, so your horse goes up with like defense 6 or something stupid.
Yeah, they're excellent objective grabbers.
Yeah, your defense 8 in shield wall with the shield in Gleaming Horde special rule.
Yeah,
so they're solid. They grab it. They're good if you run them in a squad of 3, fire them off, sit on an objective. If you make them Black Dragons, they're pretty solid in combat as well, and you upgrade them with axes. Sure, it makes them relatively expensive, but it's worth it for the strength 4 on the charge. Trust me, give them axes. Like I've seen people use like weird like the tops of the pikes, but like they look like axe head. Yeah, there's things you could do to make Easterling looking axes. They look fantastic, and it's worth it. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Eastlings average tier. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I would go average tier. I would go with the lower end of the average tier.
Oh, so
you know me and Easterlings. I'm not a fan of them.
I'm gonna go 1 up from you, so I'll just give them average. You can go low average. They're not hobbits.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that.
So, Varrages of Canned. I've only played against these boys once, and I've used them once. If you remember, Arash.
Yeah, I remember.
They're pretty cool. The army bonus is awesome for the army. So their horsemen and charioteers do not count towards the force's bow limit. Sweet, spam the hell out of those bows. Yeah, what can I say? Chariots. That's what I'm going to say. Chariots.
Chariot spam. I mean, again, the best ever, one of the best ever games I've had of SBG has been against Canned, and the opponent was just such a pleasure to play. It was an absolute gentleman. It was a great game. It was a very tactical game, given the scenario, and I have nothing negative to say about Canned. I really want to put it in the Chad tier, just because everyone I've met who plays Canned is an absolute Chad. But I'm sorry, it's got to go average for me. It's just low defense, low damage output, unless you take the chariots. But then again, if you can bog down the chariots, you're golden. I do like this army.
I'll give them Chad tier if you spam chariots. Kings and chariots.
Chad tier if you spam chariots. Average tier if you go with the horsemen.
Yeah, so you can win, but it's not. If I went against Cad, I probably wouldn't go, oh no, unless we were like 3 inches apart from each other and I've lost the heroic move against all your chariots.
Got 6 or 7 chariots.
Yeah, because they're cheap as chips. They're what, like 25 points each, 30 points?
Yeah.
30 points.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Oh
That's
my god,
scary.
so many chariots.
And they do 2 strength 4 hits on impact. The downside to them is if you go to a good event, they have decent terrain. And chariots don't do all the terrain well at all. They can't even go over walls. Like, so if there's walls, unlucky.
And yeah, with the current meta as well, with all the elves and people hiding in woodland, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Your low defense is not going to beat elf shooting, unfortunately. And
No.
you're not going to outshoot them at shoot value 4 plus strength 2 bows.
It's not happening.
No, especially with blinding light everywhere. Although that FAQ kind of sorted a little bit out. You can still bring Galadriel, normal one. There we go. Okay, so we're going to move on and Serpent Horde. These are literally your boys. These are your
They are
boys.
my boys.
Well, I mean, with the boys from Harad. Like, come on, Angmar and Harad are the reason I got into competitive Middle Earth because I just used Serpent Horde and I loved it, and they were winning. Oh, they're so good. I love them. I love everything about them. Their look, their play styles. You don't have to make a gun line. Just say. But yeah, I'll let you take it. I'll do the army bonus. I'll let you take it away because these are your boys in competitive play, aren't they?
They are. Always. South runs.
So, a Serpent Horde army may have 50% of its warriors armed with bows. That's so good. Additionally, all Haradrim warriors and raiders may apply poisoned weapons special rule to all their weapons. So bows, spears, knives. If you upgrade them with axes, I think they get the poison. Or no, you might not. Oh, you might. Good point. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below if you know the answer to that. But yeah, take it away. Give me your key models and what you love about this force.
Okay, first of all, wallahi, this army is filth. It is amazing. I love the aesthetic, coming from the sort of that sort of background in which inspired the Haradrim. I love the way they look. I love the way they fight. I love the way they perform in the battlefield. I love the fact that life is cheap and they're called the Serpent Horde and everyone's D4. I love the fact that you can shoot your own guys and not care. And they have the best cavalry in the game. I'm not hearing it. And the best thing about this army is the Betrayer. So if you're taking pure Serpent Horde, and I'm going to say this right now, you can gun line them if you want to, but as soon as you get them into combat and they re-roll those ones, no, forget that. You have the Betrayer, they're re-rolling everything. They win a fight and they don't wound you, they're re-rolling it, and chances are they'll kill you. If you want to shoot, go for it. You've just turned strength 2 bows into hit on 4 crossbows with re-rolls. This army is filthy, and you can spam the hell out of them as well. You can bring so many different combinations. It's a bit of a Swiss Army knife. So the way I like to run them is I bring a bit of those chunky boys at the front, the Merchant Guard of Abrakan, and some Watchers of Kana as well, because you're going to come up against some Terror Cores and units. And that gives you a nice balance as well, because you can use those 2 attacks, getting a spear support, and then throwing a chunky boy as well for just that killing ability, because you'll have the numbers. And if you're fighting Army of the Dead, it's lights out. You bring these guys, you bring 6 or 7 Watchers of Kana, even 5, it's lights out for your opponent who's bringing Army of the Dead. Because those Watchers are outfighting them, they're wounding them on +1 to wound. Even the big boys are +1 to wound. And just everything in this army is pure filth. And for me, they have pound for pound the best hero in the game. Pound for pound. They've got Celedan on an armored horse with armor, with a 6-inch banner, and it gets even filthier. He has a poison sword. When he's 6 inches near the Betrayer, who's then called his poison special rule, he gets to reroll all failed to wounds. So just imagine that. I've played games where I've charged Durin with Celedan and killed him comfortably because I've been able to re-roll almost 8 attacks to kill him and then use might if I need to. And that's game. That's game for my opponent. This army, I'm sorry I'm talking so much. I've got so much love for these boys. They can do anything you need to. I mean, weaknesses is definitely defense. Defense and courage. They're not particularly brave.
if you face an elf gun line or something like that, or a Lake Town gun line, you might struggle. But other than that, it depends. It depends on the terrain. If it's a decent table, it's got plenty of terrain, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, Watchers of Kana, I don't think I've ever gone to a tournament and not seen one Return of the King Legendary Legion.
Yeah. From anything between 500 to 700 points, you'll see Ghost Boys. Yeah. And even if you take 3, 4 Watchers of Kana, let's say you're not even fighting Ghosts, they still have 2 attacks at Fight 4. That's an extra dice. Spear Support, that's 3 attacks. Plus a 6-inch banner, that's 4 attacks to win a fight, right? And the Spear Support, more often than not, will get to reroll or fail to wounds. Yeah. And you'll have also 2 attacks from the front. So you'll ultimately get 4 chances to get a 6 if it's a Defense 6 model. Which, more than likely, you probably will. So even they have massive hitting potential against characters or units that aren't ghosts or terror-causing units or spirits. And let's get on to the Haradrim Raiders and the Serpent Riders. Oh. You've got a 13-point cavalry model for a Serpent Rider who has a Poison War Spear and he's Fight 4. And he's 13 points. 13. That's what, 2 more than a Black Dragon with Spear and Shield. 2 more points. He's got a 10-inch move. He's Fight 4. And let's say he wins the fight and knocks you down on the charge. And he's within 6 of the Betrayer. He gets to re-roll all 4 of his attacks. All 4. Like, I've seen them comfortably kill a Barrow White. I've seen them comfortably kill Círdan. I've seen them comfortably kill Ingold. They can take out those captains. If they're lucky and the captains roll rubbish, and they're within 6 inches of poison rerolls, they'll do it because they're +1 to wound as well on the charge. That's 13 points.
Yeah, I mean, I play dwarves now, and these guys scare me because my defense 7 that means nothing to them pretty much with that reroll +1 to wound, and the 13 points, like you said. So you'd rate them over the Haradrim Raider?
I love the Haradrim Raider as well because you want a mix of both. I take a mix of both. So I take some Serpent Riders, but I take the Haradrim Raiders for some skirmishing ability. Because what you can do is, let's say you're playing quite a static army, is run around them and just harass the backline, shoot the banners out, shoot the characters with supporting characters who don't really have much of an offensive ability, but they just buff your army. They're really good for that as well. And when you need them to get stuck in, they can just charge the back line of an enemy, trap the spear line, and then fight. If you've got priority, fight first with the chunky boys at the front who then get to double their attacks and they're +1 to wounds. This army is filthy. It's disgusting to play against. They have high hitting potential, but they are a glass cannon. Because if you leave yourself too exposed for too long, you will die. And they don't have the ability to shield, which can be quite frustrating if your opponent wants to break quickly and hold ground. So because they've got more models in the center, because you can't shield. So if you win, you have to kill them.
And they're good at that.
Yeah, they're very good at killing you. They're very, very good at killing.
I've seen so many different lists of this. Like, one that really interested me was a fully mounted list. That looked crazy. So it was the Serpent Riders and Serpent Raiders. Like, Haradrim Raiders. And so you had the skirmishy, like, shooting potential from the Raiders. 50% of your army was on horseback with bows, with poison. You've got the Betrayer on a horse, and you've got the Suladan on a horse, and maybe, like, a king every now and then. And you could just field so many. You can you go toe-to-toe with Rohan and outshoot them.
Yeah, outshoot them and often outfight them.
Just because of that reroll.
You have a bunch of Serpent Riders.
Because they got the... They've got more bows because they could probably field more bows because they don't ignore the bow limit, but it's just that reroll.
Yeah, it really is. It's that poison reroll. It's the poison war spears and the +1 to wound, because Rohan don't get that. And it's the 6-inch banner as well. And don't sleep on the magical ability of the Betrayer. Yeah, he's not the best caster, but when you need him to do something, when you need that instill fear, when you need that transfix, he can become clutch if you throw enough will at it. I mean, this army, and there's a reason I haven't touched upon the Mumak, is you can play it 2 ways. You can play it Neckbeard tier, or you can play it Chad tier. Chad tier, you will bring a Mumak, because you're an absolute Chad. You don't care how the game goes. You just want to step on people, and I love you for it. But if you're a neckbeard like me, you'll bring a mix of different elites, a gun line, the Betrayer, a mid-tier hero with 3 might points, and Citadam, and you'll clean up, usually. And it's absolutely filth.
I mean, I know we weren't going to mention it, but I love these boys for who they ally with. My 2 other factions.
Yeah. Mordor and the Pirate Boys.
And I've got my Far Harad, which is next. So I'm going to agree with you, Chad tier if you play it.
I'm Far Harad, my mistake.
Yeah, it's all right.
I completely missed Far Harad.
you monster. These are the OG for Shadow Wraith. Oh, yeah.
It's Chad Rad.
Yeah, Chad Rad. So Far Harad, okay. These are so much sentimental value. I still have all my models from them, thank God, because they're worth more than me now. I love them. Army bonus, Warrior Pride, Mahud warrior models that are within 6 inches of friendly Mahud hero models that are engaged in close combat automatically pass all courage tests they are required to make. Solid, because your entire army is courage 2 bar the heroes. That is trash. And the reason it's trash is because your 23-point model should not be courage 2. Just saying, it should not. When you break, he should not be running. I love them mainly because of their look and the way they play. You've got the Mahud King, who might upset some people. I think he's the best hero in the game for his points. He's 95 points fully upgraded, and for that you've got. He's only fight 5 because he's good. He's evil. Sorry. 3+ shoot value. He's strength 5, defense 5, 3 attacks, 4 attacks on the charge, 8 wound strikes if you win, 2 wounds, courage 5, 2 might, 2 will, 1 fate. He comes with armor and a club, but you're going to give him that war camel for 10 points. I'll go over that in a sec. You're going to give him that shield to make him defense 6. You're going to give him that bloomin' war spear to give him +1 to wound at strength 5 with 8 strikes when you knock people down. Okay? You can give him the poison dart, blowpipe, I don't care. It's okay. I give it to him sometimes because why not? You might get a clutch kill with poison. But it's the war camel. Because basically, when you charge an enemy, you roll a dice, you make 1 strength 4 hit on that enemy model that you charge. If you kill him, you can continue going if you've got movement. And if you hit into another model, you roll again. If you kill them and you've got movement left, you keep going. You get where I'm going with this. It's absolutely
You've got some stories about this unit.
I have. And the reason I love him is because he's done so much work for me. So I'll put it this way. I was playing against Isengard, a pike block, okay, with Saruman behind on his horse. And we're talking 4 Uruks, okay? 4 Uruks. 1 with shield, 3 with pike. Because this guy had spares hanging around at the back just in case he needed to fill a slot. He banged into the first dude, popped him. Went into the pikeman behind, popped him. Popped the next one, popped the last one, straight into Saruman, dehorsed him and wounded him. I was like, oh, this guy. And the guy called game. He's like, game, I can't do anything. You've got strike, I don't. Your strength 5 +1 to wound, knocking me prone. I'm done, mate.
What are you doing?
Oh, it was so good. And I'm not even joking. There's a battle report floating around there somewhere where I was going against Mirkwood Elves, like the Palace Guard. And my Mahud King popped like 6 of them in a row. These guys are insane. And that's not it. He's got his boys in. And I've got 10 other camels riding in behind him, smashing into blokes and knocking them over or killing them. Absolutely.
This army is brilliant.
Oh, I love him so much. I'm going to ignore the Mumuk. But I mean, you can bring the Mumuk, but bring the Royal War Mumuk if you're going to bring a Mumuk, and bring a Warhorn somewhere. There you go. You got a Mumuk that won't stampede. Cool. Happy. You've got the Mahud Raiders. They're 19 points, I think, with everything. 18, 19. Yeah, so if you give them Blowpipe and War Spears, I mean, it's up to you if you give them Blowpipes. I tend to just give them War Spears. But yeah, they can have banners, so even better. But I don't tend to bring a banner with these guys because I've always got the Serpent Lord as an ally because we're green allies. So yeah, I don't need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys, they only fight 3, but they're also strength 4 standard 3+ shoot value, so that blowpipe will get you some use. And strength 4 with a war spear, +1 to wound, with a camel underneath you, knocking people over and killing them. What can you do? They're so good. They're so clutch. They're so clutch. I've never rolled more 5+ in my life than I have with these boys. The Marhood Warriors are okay. I'm quite happy with them. They're 8 points, 9 points with the spear, 10 points with the blow die. I think they're relatively expensive for the role that I use them for, or would use them for. I don't use them. I use Harad Warriors because they're my spear sport. With the betrayer behind, yeah, you can see where that's going. And then you've got, I don't know if they're overpriced. These guys do work for me though. I love them. Half trolls. Okay, they're 23 points per model. That's nuts, right? But if you think about it, they've got 2 wounds each at defense 6, so you're kind of getting 2 models if you break it down like that. Because they've got 2 attacks. They're strength 5, they're defense 6, 2 wounds, courage 2. But they cause terror, which is nuts. So you can have a terror wall up front, supported by, I'm going to say Haradrim Spearmen, because I think that's how you play these guys. Okay, yeah. So they're re-rolling. You're rolling what, 3 dice in a combat at fight 5? Unless you're fighting elves, you're out fighting everyone, like all warriors pretty much. Your strength 5, and then the spearman behind you is re-rolling to wound if you brought the betrayer. You've got the banner re-rolls, so you're effectively rolling 4 dice in a dual roll. Like, no one's cracked this nut for me, really. Yeah, not easily, anyway. I think... Who beat them? I think Rivendell had a good go at them. Yeah, he broke me just, and everything just ran away. I was like, oh, this is depressing. But as for competitiveness, I think the fact that, other than the half-trolls... You're looking at like defense 5. Yeah, other than the half trolls, they're solid enough. But I've got to rate them Chad tier maximum, just because of the camel shenanigans.
I would agree. I hear what you say about the Marhood Warriors. I do think they're a bit overpriced. I do like them because they got the ability to shield, which the Chads of near like normal Charads don't have.
Yeah.
And they've also got blowpipes, which I like. And they've got Marhood Pride, so they're basically fearless if a hero model charges in. But yeah, I agree with you. It is Chad tier. Like, you're playing this just because you want to mess with your opponent with the camels and the half trolls. I love it. Another issue if you're getting into this game is probably they're really hard to collect because their models are, I think they're out of production, aren't they?
They're gonzo, yeah. Unless you want to fork out like £30 per camel minimum. But on the plus side, there's loads of alternatives, okay? Just don't get like outright stolen STL files, okay? Just get like at least some dude riding a camel with a spear, like models, you know. I get it. If it's out of production, I think it's fair game to get alternative models, and I don't think any TO has a problem with it if they're out of production. Like, my Shade has never been turned down that I made out of the Spirit Host. So... yeah, you can run this army if you want. The hardest model to find is probably half trolls to find the right looking models. But yeah, I love them. Yeah, they're my babies. Oh, my boys. Right, okay, we're getting towards the end, right? And we spent way longer on each faction than I planned to. I think the cap was what, 5 minutes per?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done well. Hopefully you're still listening. If you're not, then I mean you won't hear this bit. So, doom on you. Talking about doom, the Corsairs are upon us. It's the last stroke of doom. Corsairs of Umbar. Oh, okay. Best army bonus in the game, surely.
Hands down.
All Corsair models gain Backstabber special rule. That's nuts. +1 to wound if the model is trapped, and your models are cheap enough to trap people. It's crazy. It gets even worse. We'll find out in a minute. I mean, you've got Dalamir, who's your hero of legend. The best hero of legend in the game, hands down. He's 90 points for a hero of legend.
90 points, yeah.
Yeah, he's got Bane of Kings.
I would argue Stilladan, but he's probably the most economical hero of legend.
I've got to give it to Dalamir, just because he's got Bane of Kings. He does what your Serpent Lord does without a betrayer. If he had a horse, he'd be OP.
Yeah, 90 points, yes.
Yeah, he's got smoke bombs. So and he hits on a what 3+. So
3+.
and if you hit them and don't kill them, they're all and they don't have any will. If they can spend a point of will, so it's a good way to get rid of will. But if you've got a Wraith round, you can sap their will, as I'm sure you'll tell us in a minute. Your opponent suffers the channel transfix. That's what?
Filth.
It's a throwing weapon. You run in, 3+, boom, your channel transfix, son. Oh, it's so dirty. It's so dirty. He goes up to things like trolls and ents, and you just laugh at them. It's yeah. I've never killed ents quicker than I have with Corsairs, and it's because Dalamir's running around channel transfixing them, and they can't move, sure, but it's the half fight value that does it. As in,
they get surrounded.
Yeah, because they ignore the movement penalty, but they're still half fight value. They still take the rest of the effects of the spell. So like Sorcerer's Blast, they still take the damage. They just don't get knocked flying backwards or whatever. But yeah, man, I love this model, and he's got Stalk Unseen, so he's really survivable. So if you are going against something like Angmar, you can keep him safe, which is so powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think every unit in here has a place. Unlike a lot of the factions, every unit has a place in list. Our bosuns, they definitely have a place. Captains have a place for the march. I mean, our bosun has got march, but a captain's still solid. Yeah. Corsairs of Umbar, obviously they've got a place. Reavers, 100% have a place. Corsair Arbalisters, absolutely fantastic. Like, there's nothing wrong with this thing. And then we've got 𝐑𝐞𝐜 from Gondor at War.
𝐑𝐞𝐜, yeah.
So if you want a banner that's not a banner and a 3-might hero who he's got loads of special stuff. He's like 75 points. You get 3 mites, and he's absolutely amazing. Like Raza. And we forgot to mention Raza.
I love Raza. Raza's kill tally is amazing. I've killed Boromir with Raza. I've killed Aragorn with Raza. I've killed pretty much everyone with Raza.
Well, yeah. Raza can join these boys in a fight because they're green allies. So, are they? Yeah, they are.
𝐑𝐞𝐜 is really growing on me. 𝐑𝐞𝐜 is really good. I recently went to a small local tournament, about 32 players. I went 4 for 4 with Corsairs, pure Corsairs, and I took 𝐑𝐞𝐜, Bosun, and Dalamir. And 𝐑𝐞𝐜's Whip of the Masters is filth. You can take a Bosun and you can reroll one. He counts as a banner, so you get to reroll 1 dice. But with 𝐑𝐞𝐜, you can reroll all of them. You can have 4 attacks and reroll all 4 until you win. And more often than not, if you're rolling 4 dice, you're gonna win. The only downside is if you don't, on the off chance, they're all taking strength 2 hits, and with a defense 3, defense 4 army, you're gonna die. But when it comes off, which it will, if you have 4 attacks, it's beautiful. I love it. And there's nothing your opponent can do. And more often than not, you're trapping them as well, so they're all +1 to wound. This army, and at this tournament, I played Azog's Legion, Azog's Hunters with Azog, and it was Maelstrom of Deployment. He deployed behind me with the Pits of Dol Guldur army list, thinking that he could trap me and kill me. No, these pirates are fight 4 too, with metric ton of throwing weapons. They trapped them eventually. And I think by turn 4, all of Azog's army was dead. It was just him, and it was all ground. And the game ended on a 2 when I'd surrounded Azog in the center and took it quite convincingly. These guys have insane range potential. They've got crossbows that are defense 6 when facing shooting, but if you need to, you can move them up into a fight, and they get backstabbers. And they hit on 4s. They've got all Corsair warriors have got throwing weapons. Which is insane, because your opponent's going to be burning might, calling heroic moves if he's losing priorities repeatedly, because he doesn't want to face 25, 30 throwing weapons. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've got Reavers, but you're the Reaver guy. You take it away. I love these boys. They're insane.
Oh, Reavers. Okay, Reavers are absolutely fantastic. Easy conversion because the model it doesn't exist. All you have to do is replace the shield arm with a weapon of some sort. And then you've got yourself a 9-point Reaver. What makes Reavers so good? Well, these guys are absolutely mental. So they've got like 2 paragraphs of rules. But to just like Billy Basic it down, if I miss out a couple of keywords, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you can choose, you have to either take a courage test. If they pass it, they're all good. If they fail it, they have to charge the nearest enemy model, or they have to charge. I'm not sure if it's the nearest.
Yeah.
It is the nearest.
Nearest enemy model.
Yeah, but if there's no enemy models within charge range, they have to charge the nearest friendly model instead, which can be pretty scary because they're now all +1 to wound. As you can imagine, that'd be problematic. Bosun, ignore that. So if you're within 6 of a Bosun, they can ignore that. On top of that, these guys can automatically choose to fail this test, so they can decide to like foam from the mouth and go nutso when you're close to the enemy. That gives you +1 to wound with a 2 attack model that's fight 4. He's strength 3, but he's +1 to wound. Let's say I've got some Corsairs that's wrapped around your lovely Iron Hills shield wall, and you're trapped. They're now +2 to wound with 2 attacks. And then I've got a Bosun nearby, and is it Delgamar? The Gondor War one?
Delgamar.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're re-rolling both of their attacks. So,
Just to win.
Just to win.
It's filth.
So they've pretty much got 4 dual dice each, if they're in range of both of the Bosun and Delgamar. So there's a high likelihood you're going to win. At fight 4 as well, there's not many troops at a fight 4. So it's absolutely nuts. I've killed a Balrog with these guys. They just...
Yeah, quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Went in, Balrog didn't roll a 6. That's all that happened. He was completely trapped by Reavers, who are fearless on top of everything. And they were +2 to wound a Balrog. And I had like 6 of them in on him at least.
Filth.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So yeah, honourable mentions. Did you want to say?
Yeah. Knight of Umbar. I know people are rolling their eyes or whatever, but I like to take some magic. And yeah, he's not the best caster, but if you're fighting a Balrog, you can tie fight. If he doesn't roll a 6, you've got might to get to a 6, and then you've got hella Reavers in the Balrog, and he will die. He will die. If you've got 4 or 5 Reavers in, he will die.
Yeah.
Plus Dalamir, he will die. Plus the Knight of Umbar, who will be strength 9, 4 attacks. Yeah, it's insane. And also with the smoke bomb special rule, a couple of sap wills here and there with the Knight of Umbar on a key hero like Boromir Elisar, sap their will away completely, and then find the opportune moment to charge into them with a couple of Reavers or a couple of pirates and Dalamir who'll throw a smoke bomb. That guy is now what, fight 3? Yeah. Transfixed, trapped. They're dead. They're gone.
Yeah,
they're done there.
Nothing surviving.
So that's my case for the Wraith. Yeah, and I always take like at 600 or 700 points. I'll always take like 3 or 4 Black Numenorians just for objective secured. So they'll sit on a couple of objectives. They're defense 6. They cause terror. They're braver than a regular pirate. They'll stick around. I would rate this army neckbeard tier. I think it's one of the best armies in the game.
This is absolutely neckbeard tier. This is up there. This is top tier, 100%. But they're so good. They do. The only thing they struggle with is getting shot at. But who cares when you're in their face? They're so good.
You'll get in their face and you'll murder them.
Yeah, you've got thrown weapons, which are OP as hell anyway. You've got the spear options. You've got cheap troops. You've got backstabbers army wide, pretty much. You've got banners all over the place, or counts as banners. +1 to wound across everything, +2 to wound, fearless, good shooting. Yeah, the only downside is defense, and even that doesn't matter because your Corsairs are like 8 points with a shield or a spear.
Exactly. I mean, I love this army. Also includes a Dalamir and Delgamar, always, and then a Bosun and Reavers and Arbalesters. You don't even need to spam Arbalesters. Even if you take 5 or 6, they will pin the enemy down as and when if you target the heroes, because psychologically speaking, getting shot by a crossbow will freak your opponent out, and they will shield their heroes, and that means their heroic moves are a bit rubbish because then there's no gap for them to move forward. Yeah, I love this army. Nothing more to say really. Neckbeard tier all day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and the ability, just being evil and having that much shooting to shoot at you into your own combats, to deny that, so you can tie up, like, I don't know. So I will keep the Balrog as a theme. You can tie up the Balrog with one dude, and then throw a bunch of throwing weapons into him, kill your own bloke, and then that ultimate free heroic combat just doesn't go off, so you have literally stuck that Balrog there. He can't do anything. That is 350 points wasted for a turn.
He's stuck. He can't do nothing.
No, and that works on heroes. You stop heroic combat through heroes. Yeah, they're nuts. Anyway, let's move on. We're nearly there. We're nearly there, ladies and gentlemen. We have got the mighty, the best. These are so OP. I think even mentioning them is a bit of, it's a bit controversial, really.
Yeah.
I've got to.
Don't do it. There's no coming back.
We said we'd do all of it.
Go for it, then. Ain't no coming back.
Sharkey's Rogues. Damn.
Yeah, trash him. Next.
Yeah, yeah. These are worse than hobbits.
Trash.
Like in combat.
Trash. Listen, you can collect Sharkey's Rogues in real life, mate. You can collect them in real life. All you got to do is on Saturday night, go outside prison, find some drunk dudes, give them whips, and then go and find the Shire in New Zealand, catch a flight there and go burn it down. There you go. You've collected Sharkey's Rogues in real life. Just go outside prison with a bunch of whips and collect a bunch of dudes. I don't care how dodgy that sounds, you've done it. You didn't even have to pay GW any money to get the models.
Yeah, easy. Like, definitely worth it. The thing is, what I don't get is, why are they 5 points for 6 points with a bow, right? 6 points with a bow at a 5+ shoot value versus a Hobbit Archer at 5 points, and he comes with a bow. And the Hobbit's got resistance to magic, can throw stones as well, whilst this guy can tie Hobbits up. This is the meme army. This is a thematic army for playing against Hobbits. That is all. I'm sure there's the Legendary Legion in the Scouting of the Shire book, which I definitely didn't buy because nothing against people who like playing ruffians or hobbits or something. It's just not for me. I play evil anyway. I play ring raves.
This is one of those armies where you want to bring 100 dudes, or you want to show off and be really alternate and say, yeah, I play Sharkey's Rogues, I'm different. Or you don't care about the game and you just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And you just want to bring 100 dudes and you hate hobbits.
Kudos to you,
or Samwise Gamgee stole your girl and you took it a bit too personally. It's one of those.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just play Moria goblins. They could do something.
Yeah, goblins are actually better than them.
Yeah, they're the same points with like an item. They're cheaper. Yeah, they're better and cheaper. Because what's a goblin 4 points, isn't it?
4 points.
And then you give it a bow that makes it 5 points, on par with a ruffian. A ruffian doesn't have a bow, so you can shoot. You can give it a spear to make them high defense. I mean, I think they're high defense anyway without a shield. That's mental.
Yeah, they are. These defense 3.
Whoever wrote these rules kind of just went, yeah, the people use them for scenarios. I'm sure no one will look at their profile. We definitely balance them. They're just don't even look at them. Like, seriously. Yeah, unless you want to paint them and do it for the lols, as they say, as the young kids say.
Unless it's a flex. Don't do it.
Like, please
tell me what kind of a flex it would be.
Tell me in this comment section down below that you've won a tournament with Sharkey's Rogues, and I'll send you something.
Not even a tournament. You've won a game.
Yeah, I'll send you something.
You've won a game with Sharkey's Rogues.
I want proof. I want the tournament standings and all sorts. It's going to be scrutiny. You've won a tournament. I'll send you something for free. Okay, done. With Sharkey's Rogues. With Sharkey's, I just start getting Riverdale lists getting sent in. Oh yeah, please don't. Anyway, that's all the factions. We only had one Hobbit tier / I think it's Ruffian tier now.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, we got to keep it to Ruffian tier.
Yeah, it's Ruffian tier now. Yeah, who would you rather have backing you up in a fight, a Ruffian or a Hobbit? I'll take the Hobbit all day long.
All day long, mate.
Unless it's against a Ruffian, in which case the Hobbit's just going to get tied up. Oh, I'd love that. I think that's the only reason I'll do Ruffians. If I knew there was a Hobbit meta or something, or there's a few key Hobbit players or something going to a tournament, I'd bring Ruffians just so I can maybe tie up one of their Hobbits before I get shot to death. Oh man, it's amazing. But yeah, that's it. Any closing points for you?
No, I mean, I would say subscribe, follow, hear more content. We're going to be covering, I think, all the army lists, legendary legions, characters. We've got a new sort of podcast coming up, haven't we? The boys from Harad.
Yes, that's all
So
competitive.
there's a lot going
chat.
on. So make sure you hit the follow and subscribe button, and if you just jump in the comments if you have any thoughts. You can tell me I'm a rubbish player and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I've got the tiers wrong. Prove me wrong. Show me why. I'll probably agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same with here. If you disagree with anything I've said, I mean, you're wrong. No, I'm joking. Yeah, let me know. I love having a good debate. I do. Unless you try and convince me hobbits are like top tier or ruffians are top tier, we'll probably be all right. I'm sure they both could do. Oh my god! All right. Anyway, if you like the video, do like it because it helps massively, and this has been a ton of work. And if you're feeling especially saintly today, do consider subscribing. But even if you don't do either of those things, I still hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.